Good evening. This is AWANI Tonight. I'm Cynthia Ng. We take a closer look at the upcoming PKR elections. What can Anwar Ibrahim and other top nominees bring to the party? And in international news, New York police identify person of interest in subway shooting. That's coming up. The Johor Bahru High Court has overturned the acquittal of a driver from a charge of reckless driving, which caused the death of 8 teenagers. Sam Kating was today sentenced to 6 years in prison for crashing into the teenagers riding their bicycles 5 years ago. Sam was fined 6,000 ringgit and failure to pay the fine will result in an additional 6-month imprisonment. She was also disqualified from driving for 3 years. The decision was made by Judge Datuk Abu Bakar Kata after the prosecution succeeded in its second appeal against a magistrate's court decision to acquit and discharge 27-year-old Sam in October last year. The judge rejected the defence's application for a stay of execution and ordered them to secure leave to appeal from the Court of Appeal first. On February 18, 2017, 8 cycling youths died, 2 others were critically injured and 6 more were slightly injured when the car Sam was driving rammed into them in the 3 a.m. incident. Datuk Sri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi told the High Court that he never ordered anyone to use funds from Yayasan Akal Budi for his personal matters. The UMNO president said that instead, he was the one footing the bill for the expenses of the charity foundation that he set up in 1997. Ahmad Zahid took the stand on the first day of entering his defense in the graft trial involving Yayasan Akal Budi funds. He said he had always been involved in charity and cited how he had used a big chunk of his corporate salary to fund the foundation during its early days. Citing an example, he said he used to earn an average of 120,000 a month from the mid-90s when he was Bank Simpanan National Chairman and Executive Director in 4 other listed companies. Ahmad Zahid said he would spend 3/4 of his monthly income on charity and religious activities. On January 24th, Ahmad Zahid was ordered to enter his defense on 47 charges involving criminal breach of trust, corruption and money laundering involving tens of millions of ringgit belonging to Yayasan Akal Budi. As PKR gears up for its internal elections, President Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim has called on party members to maintain a strong sense of camaraderie and not engage in character assassination. While Anwar has retained his presidency post uncontested, what can he and other top nominees bring to the party for it to stand a chance in GE15?
Anwar won uncontested, so Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim showed that he's still holding the grip of the party, although many wanted him to resign after the bad performance of PKR in Sarawak, Johor and Melaka state election. It shows that no one have yet could fulfill the position of president or contest against him. Even though there are voices of unsatisfaction within the party, yet I think Anwar is still holding the power and also the authority of the party.
Siva said the contest for deputy president's post is the one to keep an eye out for. Former Pandan MP Rafizi Ramli will face off with Secretary General Datuk Sri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail for the number 2 post.
The contest between Saifuddin Nasution and Rafizi Ramli would be very interesting to watch. I think it is beyond what had happened in 2018 between Azmin Ali and Rafizi Ramli. The key indicator would be loyalty to the party, contribution and readiness to be the feeder to the president, because I think the president wants someone who can work with him as a team. And definitely, I think he has his choice. Whether Rafizi fits into this is something I think worth to watch. Although on paper, Saifuddin leads after being with the president and the party throughout the bad times and good times since 2018. So I think the election is an acid test, not only for the president to show that he has some direction and also to move forward and where he gonna bring the party also depends who wins the deputy president position, who wins the vice president position, and also other position, because he needs a team to work and also to make sure that he can reconcile who might lose in their contest in the party election.
The PKR polls are set to happen from May 13 to 18.
With poor performance in the recent state elections and doubts lingering over the party president, many questioned whether PKR can help bring the Pakatan Harapan coalition to victory in G15.
I think Pakatan Harapan will need PKR as much as PKR needs DAP Amanah, and also if it's going to be a new realignment in Malaysian politics, new dynamics can happen with the presence of other opposition party as well to become friendly to Pakatan Harapan to face Barisan Nasional solely. So it'd be interesting to see how PKR, I think for myself, PKR is still relevant. They have shown that they have become one of the most dominant opposition party since 2008. And for the past 14 years, we have seen how the leadership have changed, but yet the ideology remains the same. And how the three main parties in Pakatan Harapan are still intact. Although they have differences, I think Anwar will be able to accommodate, negotiate, and also bring to some kind of compromise among the opposition leaders to make sure that they are back like 2018, although it's not easy to be seen as what they have performed in 2018. Everything depends on to what extent they are willing to put the differences and to look at the similarities. If that can be done, I think PKR will play a more significant role in Pakatan Harapan.
Lim Kit Siang has declined to become a mentor for DAP, the party he co-founded over 50 years ago. He, however, pledged his full support to the new generation of party leaders.
Kit Siang informed the party's Secretary General, Anthony Loke, of the matter a few days ago. He said despite no longer holding an official position, he will always be available to offer advice when asked by the party leadership. Kit Siang announced his political retirement at the DAP Congress last month. Lim had been DAP's Central Executive Committee member since 1966, beginning as the National Organizing Secretary, and subsequently went on to hold on the Secretary General's post for 30 years from 1969.
Human Resources Minister Datuk Sri M. Saravanan has clarified that Indonesian domestic workers will not be paid anything lower than the minimum wage. He said that the MOU signed by Malaysia and Indonesia on April 1st is very clear on this provision. Saravanan was clearing up a confusion where he reportedly said that Putrajaya had not agreed to the 1,500 ringgit salary and that it was up to employers to choose to pay the amount. He explained during discussions with Jakarta, the government did not agree to pay maids that amount because the minimum wage in Malaysia at the time was still only 1,200 ringgit. Based on the approved processes, the first batch of Indonesian maids are only expected to arrive from next month, when the new minimum wage of 1,500 ringgit is expected to be in place. More after the break. Stay with us.
Apa juara istimewa ini?
Ada orang kata nasi biryani ni sedap sebab ada orang cakap pasal lauk, ada terletak pada rempah.
Aku angin betul dengan anak-anak aku ni. Tiga-tiga anak dara perempuan tapi seorang pun tak boleh pakai tu tak?
Lembabnya. Kalau potong macam ni bila nak boleh masak ni.
Kisha nak buka bisnes.
Siapa yang akan bantu Kak Aspa Lela nanti?
Hari ni Lala tak boleh tolong lah. Saya boleh tolong, Mak.
Kat dapur nanti jangan nak melatah pula.
Melatah? Kau kenapa?
Cucu kau putih geli aku. Astagfirullahalazim. Pening pada aku.
Beriani Gam Ka Aspalela di Astro dan Astro Go.
Welcome back. Police in New York have identified a man they called a person of interest in the mass shooting on a crowded subway train in Brooklyn a day earlier. More than 24 people were injured in the morning rush hour attack, 5 of them critically. Officials said they were searching for a man named Frank James, who they said had rented a van and that the key to the van was found at the scene of the crime. Hundreds of New York City police officers are continuing a manhunt for the shooter. The attacker opened fire as the train was pulling into a station in Brooklyn. No motive has been established for the shooting, and the incident isn't being investigated as an act of terrorism yet. The attack has prompted new calls to fight violence in the city's transit system. Shanghai government vows to punish anyone who violates its COVID-19 lockdown rules as daily cases hit another record of 26,000. On Monday, Shanghai started easing some restrictions, but with infections showing no signs of subsiding, its 25 million residents worry that the harsh lockdown might get extended.
The financial hub is under huge pressure to contain the outbreak, but China's strict zero-COVID policy is putting a strain on the economy and its people, who have been struggling to get daily necessities while confined at home for more than 2 weeks. Shanghai police had issued stern warning against spreading false information or forging road passes or other clearance certificates. Cars were also banned from the streets, with the exception of those involved in epidemic prevention and emergency services. On Monday, the Shanghai government started easing some restrictions.
Singapore will not leave the health declaration requirement for travellers arriving from the air and sea borders. It is only applicable for land border travel for fully vaccinated Singapore citizens, permanent residents and long-term pass holders.
According to Singapore's Immigration and Checkpoints Authority, the waiver of the requirement was aimed at easing convenience for fully vaccinated Singapore residents given the volume of traffic. It said land checkpoints are mostly used by Singapore residents and long-term pass holders traveling between Singapore and Johor Bahru. Meanwhile, the air and sea checkpoints are used by travelers abroad. The Singapore arrival card submitted online contains a traveler's health declaration for immigration clearance.
South Korea will begin administering a second COVID-19 vaccine booster shot for people aged 60 and above. This as Omicron infections drove cases and deaths to record highs in recent months, especially among the elderly.
The health ministry said that the infection rate in the age group has continued to rise above 20%. Second booster shots were previously provided to only high-risk groups, including those in nursing homes. Beginning Monday, the government will open reservations for the elderly with inoculation to begin from April 25th. At least 10.6 million people are eligible for the latest plan. Health authorities, however, said there are no plans to expand the second booster shot program to a wider age group.
At least 18 people were killed and others seriously injured in a truck accident in Indonesia's eastern province of West Papua. The overloaded truck carrying 29 people hit a hillside and flipped over near an illegal gold mine.
The accident occurred at about 3 a.m. local time in the Pergunungan Arfak district. The truck carrying miners and their families were headed to Manokwari, a coastal town in the capital of West Papua province, to celebrate Easter. Survivors said the truck's engine lost power while going up a hill and rolled backward before the accident, killing 13 people instantly, including a child and the driver.
How is Malaysian society changing, and what notable demographic trends were revealed in the latest national census report? Tonight on Consider This, we ask our guests how to better understand Malaysia's changing social fabric. That's coming up right after AWANI Tonight.
And that is all we have for you on AWANI tonight. Get all the latest news updates on astroawani.com or through the Astro AWANI app. I'm Cynthia Ng. Thank you for watching. Good night.